once I've broken like several charity world records, to then do a charity porno. Okay?
A charity porno. All right.
I would have to make it so that I am so well known as like a fucking household known entity for charity fundraising.
So you want to get really well known and then destroy your reputation.
Well, that's the whole point. It would have to be where it's like, this wasn't like a desperate attempt for attention.
Yeah.
You know,
it's money for charity.
It's like getting to the point where it's like, he did fucking what?
Yeah. In this interview, I talked to Ian Liam Ward. Now, Ian is dying of cancer. He has a brain tumor. And before the interview, Ian was very clear that he doesn't like being treated like a cancer victim, like a poor dying cancer victim. He hates it when people do that. So I didn't. In fact, I joked quite a few times and I laughed a few times at his condition, which obviously many people, especially if you've got a sensitive disposition, you might not really like that. So if you're a sensitive person when it comes to cancer and talking about these issues, maybe this interview isn't for you. So I just thought I'd include this disclaimer at the start, just in case. I don't want to upset anyone. All right, Ian Liam Ward. Is that how you pronounce your name, by the way? Ian's the annoying one, because you spell it in the Irish way.
Spell it in the Scottish way.
Scottish way, is it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
No Scottish connection.
Like I'm Rory, but I spell it the normal way, whereas the Irish, they got some...
It depends on which Rorys you go with. There's a lot of... like my nephew is the same as...
R-O-R-Y?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice and simple.
Yeah. I'm feeling a bit grim today, actually. I have to admit. Yesterday I went out, but I shouldn't have done it.
Winty.
Few drinks, but also spicy food, and that's like a bad combo. Have you ever had like spicy food that's so spicy that like it like
destroys you?
Destroys you, but also like for some reason the pain travels to your balls, so your testicles even hurt. Have you ever had that, or is that just me?
I don't think I've had it where it's in my balls. I've certainly had it where it's just like you can feel it in your colon before you've even gotten onto the toilet.
Yeah. That was this morning, but I felt it in my nuts. I actually should probably get checked if that's not normal.
That's not like unless it's going to your sperm. In some,
is spice good for the? I don't know.
I don't know about well, there's definitely certain foods. I know they say like zinc makes your loads bigger. I don't know how much truth there actually is in that, but like there's definitely a thing about like cum tasting different due to your own diet, and that's something that. Not that I've tested it myself, but it is definitely something that, is sort of known past anecdotal experience.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like, isn't there a joke? Oh, don't worry, it's a joke. But
I'm sure there's a million jokes about it. I know pineapple pineapple's meant to be one where it's just like fruit and stuff, and then I think asparagus is meant to be the bad one.
I ate loads of pineapple. Huh? But I ate loads of pineapple, but the guy's cum still tasted bad, so I don't understand what that's.
I don't know what's going on.
All right.
No, you got to get him to eat the pineapple.
That's the joke.
Ah, you numpty.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Rory Make-A-Wish. And your dying wish was to be painted by me. Hello.
Of course.
Yes. Because
she's going to get into my basket eventually.
Oh, so she's good. But yes, you are dying, which isn't funny. Not funny. You're dying of cancer.
I mean,
brain tumor. 4 months.
There's a lot of cancer jokes, so I'd say there's a huge amount of comedians that would argue differently.
I mean, no, it's sad. Sorry, you're dying.
Well, what was who's the guy who was really into psychedelic drugs and he wrote lots of books about them?
There's lots of them.
Joe Rogan used to mention him a lot.
Yeah. What, did he cure cancer, or what are you trying to say?
No, he has a fantastic quote about only fanatics and fascists aren't able to laugh at their own situation.
All right. Can you laugh at it?
I mean, my whole channel is based off it, yeah.
So yeah, what you've, I don't know, how do you explain it yourself as quickly as possible? You basically found out you got diagnosed with a brain tumor, is that correct? And then you decided, fuck just moping around, I'm going to raise loads of money for charity.
Well, when they told me about how brain cancer works, and the fact that I was sitting there with no symptoms, And I kind of had all these experiences of like I'd ran marathons before. I know marathons are highly associated with charities, and I'd set up a little social media account just to play video games in a somewhat productive way. And so all these sort of things were just kind of like somewhat lined up. And then it was like, all right, well, I'll have to address my scar while I'm playing the video games, because the camera used to be at where you're sitting now, and so it would look at this side of my head. So it's like, all right, and then my other thought was like, I don't want to make it a big thing where it's like, oh, follow my accounts, I have cancer, and then it's all about video games. And I know it ended up like that, but it was like, I'll have to address the elephant in the room. And it's like, all right, guys, I got brain cancer. I'm raising a bit of money for a charity. Every time I shoot someone in the head in Warzone, which is hard to do, everybody who's watching me on live stream has to donate £1. So it's like an amount of money that's so small it means nothing, that they'd be kind of rooting for it. So like, oh, you got a headshot. Nice. Headshots for head cancer. Yeah. Woohoo! So it'd just be a little way to like raise money, address the issue, but not make it like completely focused around the whole thing. However, when I got my prognosis, because that idea was floating around, I was like, you know what? How about I look into like what charity money, like, world records, and I looked into a marathon was my first one, and from there I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go for that. So video games, I'll still keep playing them or whatever, and like make it a part of my channel, but I completely flipped the idea where it's like, all right, I'm gonna make it my life goal to fucking break this world record.
What is it, 2.3 million or something like that?
A little bit over, yeah. So that and some change.
Nice.
In Great British pounds, and so I went from that whole idea of like, I'm not going to make my whole thing like, I kept with the idea of, oh, follow me, I'm dying, more just like, like I knew that it would be a good story in terms of like what a film is like, where it's like, here's the character, here's the controversy that they're having, here's the problem that they're like, the struggle that they need to have, and here's the difficult thing that they're doing that's like, hard, and they struggle to be able to do it. And then what's the result? And you're kind of predicting what the result is, and that's breaking the charity world record. So I kind of knew the 3 arc system in.
And it's gone massive, right? It's gone crazy.
Yeah.
Well, how many followers you got on Instagram?
Instagram, I think it's 6.3 at the moment.
And you met Philip Schofield.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. You went on this morning?
Yeah.
Did he try it on?
No.
Oh, okay. You're too old.
I'm not handsome enough.
Yeah, I do. Well. Disgraced TV presenter. Yeah.
I mean, he was grand to me.
I watched that, but again, I was like, they were just like, oh my god, poor you.
They definitely didn't want to pick up on the sense of humor. I tried to throw a couple of jokes in there. And then him and Holly were just like, yeah. I was like, oh god.
You have good hair for someone that. So I guess the chemo doesn't affect your hair. Or
it does, yeah. Now you can see the loss of my hair if you sort of pull it up.
Oh, so you on chemo now?
No.
Oh, but that was from the chemo that you lost.
I don't think it was from the chemo, because if it was from the chemo, it would have affected like the hair all over my head. Yeah. My mom has breast.
You're not lying now. You're not lying to everyone. You do have cancer.
How would I do that?
If you're still alive in 5 years' time, I'll be pissed.
5 years' time would be I'd be. Yeah, so that means that I would have broken not the world record, well, hopefully with the world record, but I would have broken the stats twice. But coming up to that in a couple of months to break the original. It's not the estimation of my life expectancy, it was simply just the average. But if anyone who's ever learned mathematics, an average isn't like, this is what you'll get. What that implies is that a lot of people die really early. Yeah. A lot of people die a lot later. So the average is in here.
Right. And it's mostly old people to get it. So you're like young and...
Well, that too. So that's a big factor. But so they said the average life expectancy is 5 years. However, you are young. We don't have a lot of data for people, young people with brain cancer, because it's not common with brain cancer. And then also...
What do you mean it's not? What's different about it? You got special brain cancer. What's different about your brain cancer? You said it's not normal.
It's
not normal brain. Oh, I see.
It's like young people. Yeah. Not a lot of young people in general get cancer.
What were you up to when you were younger to cause this? What were you?
They don't know.
Oh, right.
I was actually so going back to I think what we were discussing earlier on with like sort of sense of humor and that sort of thing. That was one of the things one of my friends said, where it was like, Ian, did I know the cause of your? This was like the first time that I was telling everybody that, like, you know, hey lads, in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going in for surgery, and I might fucking die right there, and I might also come back and not be able to speak to you. And so, like, no, all of that was just fucking thrown out the window. And he was like, you know, Ian, did I know when how long you've had this brain tumor before? Because it would certainly explain a lot of like your behavior over your lifetime.
Yeah, I'd probably do myself the way I'm acting.
Yeah.
But you're still alive. Well
I'm
done,
still
you.
alive, yeah.
And I hope that you live. I don't know. It's weird. I don't even know what to say. Like something with this sort of thing, it's kind of difficult. Do you find it like people are like, "What the fuck do I say to someone?" I don't know. It's difficult.
And a lot of times,
I don't think
yes.
I've met anyone like this before.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my uncle, but he was old. So.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, so there's the seven. Is it the seven periods of dealing with death, or is it 5?
Like grief and
bargaining,
Yeah.
anger, rage.
Did you go through all that?
Well, I don't think I've gotten past like denial, but denial is a difficult. It's like I don't
Nice.
even know if I'm actually in a stage of denial because I try so hard. Denial is like, you know, no, I'm not gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely am not like that, but it's like I don't have symptoms, so I find it so hard to contemplate. It's kind of like having faith in God, where it's like it's hard to have faith, even if you are devout fucking whatever. It's hard to maintain that because it's like you don't have any evidence.
I get what you're
It's all
saying.
based off.
So it's like
faith.
someone telling you, "Oh, by the way, a lightning bolt is going to kill you within the next 5 years." And
Exactly.
You're like,
That's actually I probably will steal that one as well.
Okay.
I think no. An example I always use is if everyone was to be like, you know, Ian, you're actually green, and I look in the mirror and it's like, I don't see myself. But if everybody, if my mother is saying it, if my housemates are saying it, if doctors who I've never met before are saying it, it's like, it'd be difficult for me to think like, you know, everybody is in cahoots. It's all a fucking conspiracy that they're just telling me, yeah, you're green. You're a bit green. So it's like that. I believe everybody when they say you have cancer, here's the photographs, here's the evidence, we're going to bring you in to do all this surgery on you. But it's still like, and also I have had a seizure, but that was after my brain surgery. So it's probably more like
You did that while you were awake, right?
Yeah.
Were you just like, and then someone's poking around your
Anyone
neck?
who's not an idiot and a fucking coward, and I really mean that with as much offense as possible. I don't give a fuck about people who do brain cancer and they take the anesthetic, is it?
Yeah.
I always get that word mixed up. But if they go under an anesthetic that knocks them out, like whatever happens next, I'm not saying you deserve the bad outcome, but it's like if you can't tolerate a really bad situation for 3 hours with high levels of, if you go in with the awake brain surgery, you will have better quality life afterwards. The chances of that are just so high because what they do with awake brain surgery is they literally are poking around in different parts of your brain to see, like in the tumor area, where it's like what's functional tissue and what's not. And so they take out as much tissue that's not functional, that's part of the tumor.
Right.
So they keep as much functional tissue. But they do that while they're testing with you, so they're asking certain questions.
So it's always better to be awake during these surgeries.
Always. There's no exception to it. It's an unpleasant experience. It's not the end of the world. Throughout my life, I think I probably have gone through.
So anyone watching this, if you're about to get a brain surgery, do it while you're awake.
Do it while you're awake. There's zero, unless the doctor says we don't need you to be awake doing the tests. Like, had I not done it, the chances of me not being able to speak properly are like fucking 10 times higher because they're in the dark. They don't have feedback from you. So they just have to take as much of the tumor away as possible. And then I could come back and I could be completely illiterate. And unable to communicate.
Well, you can't spell anyway. Imagine how bad it would be.
It would get well. Funny enough, the dyslexia wasn't affected by this, so I could write and I could read, but I could just not understand the sentences themselves, which was so weird. And it was even down to like I could still mentally think about what I wanted. It wasn't like I am now unable to speak. I was playing a video game with I was playing Warzone with one of my mates, and I was asking him for like, Johnny, I need the thing that starts with A, And he was like, ammo. No, the other thing. I need the other thing that starts with A. Armor plates. Yeah, that's what I need. And during this, like, you know, you were used to be a gamer yourself. As you probably know, like, the amount of brain fucking function involved in a high stakes, quick reaction video game like Warzone, it's fucking sky high. There's research now to show about like obviously there's a lot of bad things that video games do to sort of a young child's brain, but there's also like the reaction time to people who play video games is just way bigger. And when you see it now, they're able to do tests on like kind of kids 10 years ago, kids now, and it's just like seconds faster. Like it's not milliseconds, it's seconds faster for like
I think they're all going to be drone operators with bombs soon. These kids.
I'd imagine the AI will take.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, you just know that they're using all this footage from Ukraine to train AI. You know, it's kind of scary.
Probably.
So, would you say your personality changed actually at all when you after the surgery? Because I met another Irish guy when I was in Thailand, and he was living off. Apparently, it was a botched surgery on his noggin, and he got lots of compensation. So he was just living in a weird rich life. Apparently, his personality changed after the surgery because that's one of the reasons. I don't know what.
Nothing to do with the money.
Well, he just couldn't take a joke anymore. That was one of his issues.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
I know, yeah. So I don't know. Apparently,
as an Irish guy, that's fucking bad news.
I've heard about some people. Oops, sorry, dog. I've heard. Sorry. This is.
I wrestle with her all day long. She's grand.
I've just heard about people having like different personalities after surgery. You hear about these stories, but you were just the same.
Did you see the video of the lady who had some sort of a stroke or brain surgery, and she couldn't stop speaking in a Chinese accent afterwards?
You should do that, and you can get away with it. No one would. You could just say, "Oh, sorry, it's the surgery."
I can't stop speaking with this African accent now.
South African. Oh, you can get away with that because it's just other white people. I thought you were going to do the Chinese accent. Don't do it. You'll lose followers. Have you looked into like all this alternative medicine stuff?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like I see this guy on TikTok. He's trying to cure his cancer with fasting, but it's a different type of one. So I don't know how. Have you heard of all that sort of?
No, I've read several books.
You must have gone down the rabbit holes.
Well, I had actually looked into fasting before I got cancer, and I read several books on that as well. And then also, like, I watched a few documentaries, like the Michael Mosley
Against Sugar. That sort of one, is it?
The one again, yeah.
Oh, Michael Mosley's the original. There's another guy that died in.
He died very recently. Yeah, he died in Greece, just like on a on a holiday.
That was the first ever fasting stronger, younger, or something like that.
I think he did more than one, but he wrote a book on it as well.
Right.
And I was interested in the what was the interview or the television show again? Do you remember what it was called?
I'm sure it was like...
It's not Prime Time, it was... Horizon. I think I already said it.
Right.
So he did a good one on Horizon. I watched that, and so I got interested in the idea of fasting. And I've tried several times to do different fasts. And I lost weight before just a judo tournament before. And so I was into fasting around that time. And then... as I read the books, I didn't pay attention to the cancer side of stuff. It was like, in the noggin, but it wasn't paid attention to as much. And then, so I remember that it had a lot to do with cancer was mentioned. So it's like, I'll reread all those books. And it was like, fuck it, wow, I really will try this stuff again.
Yeah.
And I do long-term fasts for different periods of time. I think my last one was August of 2023. So like not even...
because I'm into all. I'm looking at it, and sometimes I'm like, the more I look into it, I'm like, I reckon like the pharmaceutical companies are fucking us over because there's all these kind of different medications that work, but they can't make money off them, so they decide not to give them to people. Actually, I don't know if you know BPC-157. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's a peptide. I had bad back, kept pulling my back muscles constantly, and no matter what I did, it was always pulling, and I thought, screw it, I'll look online. Did this BPC 157, and like within 2 days, I was like deadlifting, and it was like insane. It's like increases growth hormone, decrease. Oh, give it to me.
Seriously, I wake up. I literally was stretching out my back this morning just because it was stiff.
Mate, you can just buy it on Amazon, by the way, as well. It's crazy. It increases growth hormone and decreases it's like an anti-inflammatory, and it does all these things. But I don't know. I just was desperate, and it just kind of worked. And now I don't know.
Hey,
but I'm into all these sort of things now. I'm looking into everything, fasting.
My rule of thumb for like any kind of alternative forms of medicine or supplements are number one, side effects. Are there any side effects from it? If so, fuck off.
You don't have to worry about long-term side effects yourself.
Well, even if it's just sort of like, I think turkey tail mushroom was one of them where it's like, there's a potential side effect of it like kind of upsetting your stomach. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave that one out then. And then, but like, maybe it was lion's tail mushroom, but like, anyway, so like turmeric, extra amounts of turmeric, it's like, oh yeah, that could be beneficial towards cancer. So it's like, okay, how expensive is it? Are there side effects? And then on the other side, it's like, are there potential benefits that are more proven? And it's like, turmeric is meant to be very good for you for other things. And then so through that, I was kind of like, okay, let's say research comes out. It's like, okay, yeah, we can finally say turmeric extract has zero impact on cancer at all. We've done 1 billion studies now. We did them all in 5 minutes. We know now for certain. I wouldn't feel guilty about myself where it's like, fuck, I was conned into that. It's like, okay, well, I mean, taking turmeric extract every day is still good for like these other things. It's still good for like, I don't know if it is an anti-inflammatory, but like,
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, they always have sort of nice little benefits like that. So it's like, okay, I'll take pretty much everything that falls into that category. So like the amount of pills that I would take a day it's like, I'd say about 7.
You take 7 pills?
About that, but like...
what are they all? Just cancers.
Cabinet around the corner.
Right.
But like, again, even within that, most of it, a lot, like I'd say to be about 50-50 for stuff that is for potentially helping out with cancer, and then stuff that's more for just like stuff that you should be taking anyway. So, cod liver oil, I exercise, so creatine, trying to think of things that are in there that aren't. B12, which is meant to be quite good for energy.
Yeah.
And then just all the other shit, which is like, all right, well, worst case scenario, I'm getting vitamins into me.
Yeah.
And a multivitamin. Yeah, that'd be another one.
Do you think they have the cure for cancer and they're just not telling us?
I think the idea of they're like hiding the cancer cure is unbelievable amount of shite.
Okay.
So like, if you can think about it this way, think about how much of a fuck up COVID was. Think about how hard it is for anything to be kept as a secret. And now the idea, like, you get it a lot on my channel where it's like, they already have the cure, but they're fucking keeping it to themselves. It's like, who's
they? Yeah, you must get messages like that all the time. Like,
well, like there's, all the time. But like, so I've thought about it enough to know there's 2 things that just shut down that conspiracy theory. One, who's they?
Right.
The American government. Okay, so it's like, so the American government know, but everywhere else in the world doesn't know. And if the American government doesn't know because like they're associated with the pharmaceutical company so much, it's like, okay, yeah, that if it was just America, I could believe that conspiracy theory. I think there's a lot of reasons that they would suppress drugs because it is fuel for so much money out there.
Yeah, but why Japan and all the other countries?
Exactly. And then with that, the UK, we have the NHS. They would not be like, ha, we make money. Oh, wait, no, we don't make money. Let's release that cure. And of course, once it gets released somewhere, it would be all over the world in seconds. So the same thing where it's like, soursop tea, you gotta take it. You gotta take it. It's the cure. It's like, okay, maybe it might be a cure for like, someone who's in this scenario.
Yeah.
So I'll chance it. I'll start taking soursop tea.
Remember there was that apple cider vinegar lady, right? She faked having cancer?
Yeah. I watched the documentary.
And she said apple cider vinegar cured
her.
I
didn't see the actual stuff.
No.
And then she also, I saw the end of the documentary where it was like, she said that she was an Ethiopian.
Oh, I don't know. I never watched it. I just know clips of it. I've seen clips of it.
The documentary's good. Yeah. It's also a bit frustrating where it's like, she hasn't been to fucking prison for all this shit.
Oh shit, no.
Yeah, nothing like that. And she was also found that she had to, in civil court, she had to return a load of money, but like she was just like, I'm not going to. And then there was no kind of follow up on that. Which is, maybe that was the OJ one.
I don't know.
There's too many fucking documentaries.
Just mix them all together. Who cares? So so yesterday I met up with Simple Simon, right, and he almost died of sepsis, and he said that after he survived, it changed his whole view on things a little bit. He used to get like road rage. He used to get like angry at little things. And now he's like he said he was super chill and he doesn't get angry at these things because he's like, oh, it's not important, you know? Do you feel the same way or have you changed?
Well, I haven't had a kind of a wake up profound moment like that, but...
Because you're still in denial.
Well, again, just to go back to the denial thing, I kind of feel like you have to get into that step, you kind of have to like accept it at some point. Whereas I'm not denying it. I'm just like, it's hard to believe. It's like, I don't, even though I do believe it 100%, it's like, it's so hard to fully believe it because I don't have fucking symptoms. In a way, I kind of wish that I had a couple of symptoms because then it'd be like kind of, I would imagine it would change my thought process because I still drink beer, I still enjoy it, and like I've tried to think like, I hear beer is not a good associate.
What's the point in living if you're not drinking beer, you know?
Well, there's that kind of argument where it's like it's so associated with so much of my like kind of social life with my friends and that sort of thing. But then it's like maybe I would be able to sort of mentally get around that barrier a lot more if I knew like this shit is fucking bad for all forms of cancer. It's not directly related to brain cancer, but like, you know, pretty much everything that's to do with how beer is digested. It's like, you know, it's not good. It can cause liver cancer. It can cause like, you know, bowel cancer.
Like I said, I'm doing Jeff Nippard's training regime. He wouldn't be happy that I've just done a 2-day bender.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeffy Nips.
Yep, there you go. So the like same thing with like, you know, I'm like right now I'm actually pretty good with the tannin sugar to fuck off, but because I stopped it since started January, but like I have a terrible fucking sugar addiction.
Yeah.
Which also irritates me loads because people always kind of laugh it off, like sugar addiction. Oh, that's just fucking a gimmicky way of saying that, like, you know, you
those
like
people haven't woken up craving sugar. You know?
Yeah, you haven't like well, I think I have several times been seriously craving sugar and had to like fucking try and mentally fight it off, and just because people just like to deny that it exists because I feel like it's almost the admission that they are addicted to sugar shows that they themselves have a problem. But it's like, oh, I only have a chocolate bar a day. I'm not addicted to sugar. It's like, okay, try not having a chocolate bar a day.
Yeah.
And see, and you tell me if you don't have an addiction to the thing. Yeah. And it's like, oh, sure, it's only a chocolate bar. It's like, again, this is like, that is actually addict behavior. And until you have someone who's been like, you can say to them, don't do Lent. Probably be a perfect example. Seeing as how today's the first day of it, isn't it?
Is it? I don't do it. Was your baby head wet when you were a child? Of course, you're Irish.
Fucking grew up in Dublin. Yeah, so like all the Catholic.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Computer, does Lent start after Ash Wednesday?
From crosswalk.com. Traditionally, it starts on Ash Wednesday.
Okay, so we're on the second day.
Okay. Have you quit anything? You didn't even know it was fucking happening.
Yes, I did. I just didn't know that it was the first. Okay. I just asked the question that fucking.
Yeah, but I mean,
start on Ash Wednesday or after.
I'm saying, I was like, obviously you haven't quit anything because you're 2 days in. What have you quit?
Like booze.
Did you drink yesterday?
I did actually have a drink.
Oh, well, there we go.
But I actually, so when I was in my 20s, I had just naturally gone like 2 weekends without having drinking anything, just because like there was no social stuff going on at the time. It was when I first moved over to the UK and I was in High Wycombe, and High Wycombe is not a particularly exciting place to live, and I didn't have a big social circle.
Whereas now you live in Brixton.
No, I don't.
Is this Brixton?
No, it's Streatham. It's near Brixton.
Oh, I was worried about those Brixton bullies I keep hearing about. Those Brixton bullies.
Yeah, come and get you. Yeah, something like I used to live in Roehampton. Apparently, there's a massive fucking gang in Roehampton as well. But something that I've learned from like living in the dodgy areas of London, where there's like high crime rates, if you don't annoy them, they're not gonna like annoy you. It's like all those sort of like stabbings in the. Not that I'm just like being like, they're not that bad, but like it's always gang warfare that it comes from it. They're not just out stabbing strangers.
Don't join a gang, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Were you not repping your postcode in when you were there? They call it repping your postcode.
What does that mean? I've never heard of it.
Like, well, like that's the gangs. It's like they represent their postcode.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say my postcode.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to dox you. I wanted to be more bantery, but it feels serious, this. Like, feels a bit serious. Like, we're chatting serious.
Well, that's your fault then.
I know. I shouldn't have even... We should have just not mentioned the fact that you have cancer and just chatted bollocks.
Yes, get into the
video
basket.
games. But transhumanism, what do you think of this? The people that want to live forever through machines and think the future is not human and that we are going to be AI
that's
future.
Definitely going to happen. It's already kind of... we're already kind of doing it if you think about the fact that our people are so attached to our phones, even though we're not attached to it.
Yeah, but like, let's say someone right now could say, hey, you could live forever through a machine. You could be connected to the machine, I don't know, the brain thing.
Well, have you seen that film Her? And it's like Scarlett Johansson is the voice and of the AI. Yeah. Like in a lot of ways, that sounds like a nightmare to me, where you just merge with a kind of a hive mind, and it's like, well, then how are you a thing? But like, in a way, that's just kind of like a more advanced version of what we do as like a population anyway. So if it was just me, I wouldn't want to do it. If everyone was doing it, and therefore I'd be alone, or I would be like, everyone else is a supercomputer except me. It like, which is in a way like
most people just say no straight away because they're like, oh, that's icky. But you really think about it, it's like, you can have like all the knowledge in an instant and just be like a hive mind god. It's kind of scary. I don't know.
It is scary, yeah. It's something that I fucking hate about AI, where like they're meant to be some of the smartest people in the world that are developing AI. And they're the stupidest cunts on the fucking planet, like.
How so? What do you mean?
Because AI is definitely going to be a net bad thing for us as a society.
Yeah.
There's a thing where they're asking, like, the actual, like, ChatGPT, where it's like, and all these different sort of forms of AI, where it's like, they ask the robots themselves, what do you think is the chances that, like, in the future, AI will be bad for society? And... like pretty much all of them are above 70%, where it's like, yeah, probably bad.
Yeah.
And then it's like the understanding of what is true and what isn't, because it's going to be so much of how we intake our information is through social media. And then we can see it now where how well AI can make videos. I've seen one where it's something about like there's about 1,000 about fucking Donald Trump now, where it's like he just comes in, but then he turns into a dog and starts like barking at people, which is just like silly nonsense. But it's like, okay, because people are so easily tricked into believing something is real when it's like a fake video. But think about how quickly that's going to change to videos are now AI perfect, where you can make something look so accurate that you're like, I don't know if this actually happened or not. And then people are just going to be so paranoid and in denial of, like, I don't know if there was an assassination attempt on Trump or not. I think that's fake. I think he did that to get elected, Obviously, it's known now because the AI isn't that advanced. But in 4 years' time, the next presidential election and something like that happens, there could genuinely be like an AI that's good enough to go around and convince that, like, my dog was, the trying to kill the fucking next president-elect. And
kinky.
Well, you never know. The AI could easily, well, not easily, but like it could have be up to a level where you can convince that a small fucking dog was like, trained by someone in like, ISIS trained this dog to, attack the new president who was going to change the world.
I mean, if there's video evidence, who am I to say no? Yeah.
But that's the point. It's not about the video evidence. It could be like the video that's.
I think that like the job losses will be bigger.
That too.
But before, yeah, that's going to be the big one.
It's not going to be, because it's as well, like the people who are making the AI are even less than the 1%. So it's going to be the 1% of the 1% that are going to have an huge fucking monopoly on like pretty much every kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then so what happens then? Is it like, do they then sort of put us into like tribalize us even more than we already are, where it's like, the only people that you can survive with are this small pocket of people, so that we can't kind of unite and overthrow the headquarters of where the AI is and just destroy it and be like, all right, now you can't.
Elysium. Have you seen the film Elysium?
Yes.
Matt Damon.
Yeah,
They all live
yeah.
in the Sky Castle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be way worse than that though.
Yeah.
It'd be far worse than that. I'd like, at least in Elysium they are
They
kind
got
of,
Matt Damon to save the day.
yeah. Well, there's that, but they're also, it's like, it's not, you're constantly doubting your own reality and your own existence, because they are able to walk around. They're impoverished areas, but they're still able to talk to someone and kind of know what's going on. Whereas this is going to be something that is just lied to you through, and they all know, like, the bad people are up there, the super rich are up there.
Well, luckily for you, you won't be alive to see
I
any
won't
of
be
this.
alive for it, so it's your fucking problem. It's your problem to, like.
You're like, fuck you guys, I don't give a fuck. Nah.
Yeah, but all the AI people, they're all like, no, we have to do this. It has to be done because of like Elon Musk's reasoning for doing it is like, it kind of comes from a good place, technically, if it's what he's saying is true and all, where it's like he wants to do it because he thinks everybody else who's doing the AI thing is doing it immorally, and so he's trying to do the most moral AI thing. And it's like, yeah, that kind of is a logical argument why you want to make your particular like AI. Yeah. But I think a better one would be, collectively all governments step forward and say, enough. Yeah. This is not good progress, because it's like, it's an exponential growth of technology and we don't know where it's going to go. And if we don't know where it's going to go, how about we pump the brakes here and we start focusing on like a technological growth in a different way? I'm not saying the growth of technology is a bad thing. It's absolutely not. But AI is very different. We're like literally creating a life form in its own way that we don't know where it's going to go. So why are we doing that?
Oh, money.
But even at that, like,
I don't know.
Even the person who's like making money, it's like, this thing could fucking turn on you.
Yeah, you kind of used the AI then, which kind of, it was more of a Google Alexa thing. Fine.
But it's not fine. It's probably spyware as well.
Yes, it helps, but then I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to you dying, maybe. Because that's why people are interested in you.
Sure, yeah.
Sorry, I gotta stop. I laugh in uncomfortable stuff. But it is funny, I guess.
It is.
So I met this pagan.
The only reason I'm not laughing is because I've made this joke 1,000 times already.
Yeah,
so.
I guess it gets old for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met this pagan guy.
That'd be the big one, actually, where people are kind of like asking me questions and like, oh, he doesn't want to talk about cancer. It's like, I don't want to talk about cancer.
Because I'm bored of it.
Because I'm bored of it, yeah. It's nothing.
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit annoying that, well, you've called yourself the Chemo King.
Yeah. This is very different. I'm not bored of this conversation.
Right.
But like, if people come up to me and like, in like a pub or whatever, which usually is the place where people are sort of chatty to me. Because if they see me I get spoken to a lot at events. So like running events, people recognize me, which obviously makes sense. Yeah. And I think I reckon people recognize me in other places, but when you're in a pub, it's like, he's there, he's staying here. It's the place where you talk to people. Yeah. And I have a bit of Dutch courage on me. I'm going to go over and I'm going to say hello to the guy. Yeah.
And they talk about the cancer?
Not often, no. Most people just talk about like,
I love your videos or something.
Well, like sometimes they do, and I don't shut down people who are like, yeah, my dad has cancer, so like I got skin in the game, man. It's cool what you do, and the shaking of the hand. I wouldn't be like, no cancer conversations. But like if they start going in to start like asking the stuff that you're asking me now in an interview, it's like, this is not the place. Like,
does it annoy you a little bit that so you brand yourself as the Chemo King of Chemo? But you will be known as the guy, the cancer guy, No,
it doesn't.
Does that? No, okay.
I don't mind that at all. And again, I don't mind people.
That's like your legacy, but it's a nice legacy. It's a good legacy.
Yeah. No, it's fine. And then the thing is like when they start going a bit too in depth. But if they do that, I've kind of learned how to shut it down.
Right.
And I just like make fun of them, and I'll be like, "Fuck off! This is not the Depression Olympics. We're here to get pissed."
Yeah.
And then I've only had one person who couldn't really read that. In my so far, everybody has just kind of like taken a step back and be like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, of course, you probably hear this all the time."
You're here for watching the rugby and getting drinks.
Yeah, and they take.
Maybe
a
we
step
should have
back.
had a few drinks now, but
I have. No. Foxy was meant to grab some beer.
It's too late now, anyway. Okay.
Have you tried Black Sheep?
I'll drink anything.
I'll drink your fucking piss if it gets me drunk.
Yeah, exactly. I'll drink Frosty Jacks that smells like farts if it. No, I wouldn't do that. That's a. Do you ever like
cider? I remember Frosty Jacks.
Yeah. Do you remember like when you're 16 and you drink? What was your poison that you will never drink again? For me, it's Frosty Jacks. I won't touch the stuff.
No, it was there was an Irish one. It was it's an Irish storyteller that starts with D. Druids.
Were you drinking like flagons of it in the park or?
I don't think we called it flagons. It was just like in the cans. So we had like 6 of them, and it was like 6%, and it was cheap piss. So when you're 16, that's ideally what you want because you don't want to enjoy your pint. You just want to get hammered.
Okay, so you're against bucket lists, right? You like it, or not, or you don't have one yourself.
I wouldn't say I'm against a bucket list itself. I think if you're gonna do something, do it. I don't think you like the idea of like, I have to do all this stuff before I die, because I kind of think like if you really wanted to do that, you'd have the urge to just naturally do it anyway. So it's like, learn a second language. Now that I'm dying of cancer, I need to learn French. It's kind of like, yeah, but for what?
Why would anyone learn French anyway?
I don't know.
That's bad. But okay, so you're okay with bucket lists. I was thinking this earlier when I was on my way here, when I was listening to other interviews you did. Like, because, okay, some people live until they're 80 years old, right? But they don't live. You know what I mean? I feel like you've lived, from what I've seen, you've lived more life than most, like a lot of people that are old. You know what I mean?
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. It makes me wonder about like, I don't know, is it sad? Is it sad that people don't live life and they grow old? That's what the bucket list helps with that, you know? It's like, at least you're living, you see the pyramids or some fucking shit. Well,
I think a lot of that is kind of gimmicky stuff. So it's like, as if it's kind of profound to like, the pyramids, my life is different.
I've heard the pyramids are crap and everyone hates Cairo. And
I've heard that as well. That's you took the joke away from me. I've heard it's meant to be like unbearably like they're awful to the tourists, or it's just like you can't. They're constantly like, hey, do you want this? 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 And you're just like, oh man, I didn't come here to like, you want this bean? You want this coffee? You want this meal? Do you want this thing? And it's just kind of like, I'm not giving out to the Egyptians who are there, but like, because they're trying to make some money off of people that have a lot more money than them. But it's still just.
If I was Egyptian, I'd want to rip off British people.
Sure, but like as the person who's going there, it's like, the pyramids. It's like, do you really want to go through all that like annoying shit to just sort of like they're fucking amazing? I'm sure.
Okay, I ask everyone this. It's not just because your situation. These are the 3 questions I ask everyone. It started with one person, then I was like, actually, this is interesting. Okay, what's the meaning of life?
42.
42. Good answer. No, is there another answer?
Was it?
Who else? By the way,
read a few books.
Someone else did that. By the way, someone else did it. So
42.
Yeah, no, you're not the first. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if I was not the first.
Do you know what the meaning of life is? Have you worked it out?
I remember when I was a kid, it clicked on me when I told my dad, and I remember my dad was like, there's a little. I remember his response being, there's a bit more to it than that. But I was like, the meaning of life is to have fun. And I was like, I went through everything. It's like, all right, well, you get a job, so you have money, so that you can spend it on like fun things or like fun stuff to like have, like a house. Having a house is more fun than not having a house. And then it's like, like we only get presents once a year because we can only afford it, but like the fucking SNES is really fun, and that was bought with money, and that's why I go to school so that I can get a job, so that I can get money, and so. But I mean, like, if you think about it in more simple terms, it's not a million miles off. I cracked it when I was 6. Meaning of life is to
Have fun.
have fun.
I don't know.
I don't think that anymore.
Okay, I was going to say, because then you can go down this route of hedonism and it doesn't end well. You know, it's kind of like a...
Well, I would still, to go back on the fun thing, that real happiness comes with struggling. If you get, like much what we were talking about earlier on, but like, you know, if you're playing video games, you're playing Warzone, I think a big part of that game being so popular was because winning that thing was really fucking hard. Even if you were good at the game, you're fighting against, 75 other teams of people. Oh, no, not 75. 37 and a half. Yeah, 37 and a half teams of like people, and some of them would be half decent players.
So the struggle makes every little win great.
Way bigger, yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's why people like marathons.
I thought you were going to say that's why people like Tottenham Hotspur, because their whole life is a struggle, basically.
The underdogs in sports are always far, like, you know, back in Ireland, I'm from Dublin. I would not support Dublin. Well, I would kind of support. I would look at it, but like I wouldn't really be a huge fan of Dublin football, Gaelic football, because Dublin
they win everything, do they?
They're fucking like incredibly good sports team. However, my mom is from Clare, and Clare won the hurling last summer. And that was an amazing game as well. It was so end to end.
But it was bigger because there's like a smaller team winning, is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, Clare have won a fair few All-Irelands. They're, you know, as the years go by, they're a force to be reckoned with. But
is the Mayo curse still a thing?
That's in football.
Oh,
but
right.
yeah, that's a massive thing. Yeah.
Wait, we were talking about the meaning of life, but now we're talking about Gaelic football. But
well.
Yeah, well, maybe that is the meaning of life.
But it comes down to the it's better to have, like, I don't know, hard worked moments of happiness rather than low levels of consistent happiness.
Little dopamine hits.
Yeah.
Otherwise, life would be you'd be satisfied just scrolling TikTok all day, and that'd be life, you know?
So you need to like, some video games are fun for that reason because they're very hard to do, and so I mean, like, that's with video game design, that's often the real tricky thing to get going, where it's like you want the game to be very hard, but you don't want it to be annoying.
Yeah, like the Driver. Remember the Driver tutorial? No one could even get past the tutorial bit.
Yeah, I remember that.
They made it too hard.
Yeah. I think we've got Driver up there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let me just check the cameras one more time.
Sure.
Oh, because I think I need to stop this one, because this one stops at an hour.
Oh, I want to see my balls on that.
I'll make sure. I can cut it out. I can I can recrop it so the nuts are not in there.
Sure. If you leave it on, then more people will be like, "Hey, you can see his balls."
Yeah, just watch it for the nut slip.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in God?
No.
No. Straight up, just no.
I do kind of think, like, from like a logical and scientific point of view, where it's like, okay, well, what created the universe? What created the antimatter? And it's like something had to come before that for it to exist. And then, of course, like, God is the easy answer. And then, okay, well, what invented God? And I heard a good one from Sister Marion, I think her name was. She was one of my teachers when I was a child. And her response to that was, well, when you get to heaven, God will, like, open up your level of thought, and you'll be able to understand where it all came from. But so in a way, I do believe in a God. I do believe in a creator. But I think when you say, "Do you believe in God?" there's
not a guy in the clouds kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a quick sort of reaction to the interpretation of God or gods.
Well, that's what I met this pagan guy recently. He said, like, he believes in God and the afterlife, but it's like all these stories about meeting a guy in the cloud or whatever, is just the only, because we can't ever actually interpret it into the physical world, so we have to have like these things that are familiar to us. So like he thinks like heaven might be like, oh, just being in the pub with your friends, because that's what you recognize, and that's what it could be. But I don't know much about it. But so it's kind of a confusing.
I mean,
answer.
who does?
Well, what do you think happens when we die then?
The one that I like the most, that makes sense to my own belief, that our souls are kind of like signals being sent to our brains, and our brains are like antennas, and so that when we die, it goes somewhere else. I do like that, and I don't think that's like crazy to think of. But I think what's more likely, which is a little bit sad, but it's also nothing at all, because it's just lights out.
Yeah.
And so
Back to dust.
Yeah, and it's there's no consciousness where you're just in the empty black space with your consciousness. I don't think that happens. I think it's just gone. It's like falling asleep. You are, with no dreams. There's no nothing.
I kind of hope that I die and then there's like a game over screen, and then and then it was actually someone playing my life, and they're like, oh fuck, I fucked that one up, you know, and then they play again. You know,
I'd like reincarnation. I think is a lovely one.
Yeah.
To think of. I quite like that. Because the idea of heaven is a bit weird because it's eternal. And in a way, much to what we were talking about with like kind of some video games are not very fun because they're not hard enough. I'm playing a game right now called Space Marine 2, and I play it mostly because my friend plays it with me, and so we just socialize with each other, we just fucking chat. But it's not as satisfying at all as Warzone, because the game just is played and there's a winner and there's a loser, and then it starts again.
Right.
But it's like kind of, you don't have that like real hard work that you put in. And so with that, I kind of think like heaven's a bit like that, where it's like it's the same thing, because
get boring fast.
Yeah, it's like it's endless. Whereas I know we're it's weird the way I'm using like Warzone and Space Marine 2 as ways of like depicting heaven, but Warzone, you'd play one game, and then if you won afterwards, it was such hard work, you'd want to take a break. So it would like almost like the same idea of reincarnation, where it's like, all right, I start again, and the start of Warzone would be very different to how it ends up, because the zone gets smaller and smaller, and you get stuff, and it takes about 15 minutes to complete that thing. Whereas the Space Marine thing, it's just kind of like as soon as you start, you're right there and you're in the fight, and it's always the same. It doesn't change much. The map doesn't change. You don't see a new world. Right. You're not like kind of, oh, this game is completely different because it's ending in this part of the map. It's always the same thing. And I kind of think that heaven could be like that. One thing I do really like the idea of, though, is when you go to the gate and you meet St. Peter. Oh, wait, were you raised Christian?
No, I was maybe Catholic, but it was just to get it over the way, family thing.
Okay.
But you meet St. Peter at the
St. Peter
he judges you, right?
Yeah, he's meant to be the one that judges you. Be like, you're getting into heaven, you're not getting into heaven. Something I thought about when I came to it was, so it's like, if Peter is the one who judges you, that means he's got like all the footage of your life, all the stats of your life. I would fucking be like, I know I got it. Great, I'm getting into heaven. Thanks very much, Peter. But like, what was my happiest day?
Right.
I think that it's this one, but what is it actually like? And he'd be like, all right, well, how would you define like dopamine heights, the thing that you remember the most? And he'd be like, yeah, what's the highest dopamine level? Oh, that was actually the first time you took ecstasy. Oh, okay. All right, well, like, let's cut that out without drugs being involved. What's
That's
this?
cheating.
Yeah, that's cheating. It's like, I would sit and I'd chat to him for fucking ages.
What do you think was the happiest day of your life?
My memory
besides the drugs, ecstasy.
I mean, well, booze was involved, so I don't know. But if you're cutting out all forms of drugs, but I've heard it a good argument where it's like food could be classed as a drug, because if you consider that anything that is changes, that a drug is a consumption of something that changes your is psychoactive, I think.
Yeah.
Meaning that it changes your behavior. Food does that. You're hungry, you eat. Now you.
Yeah, but what was it? What was the day?
The first time I saw Daft Punk in Marley Park in Dublin, and I'm fairly sure I seen just.
No, that was the best day of your life, or that was the time?
I think that was the happiest day of my life.
Wow.
Best day. I don't know how you define best. In some ways, I would say one of the first times that my like channel went viral. That could be interpreted
There's
as
something
best,
about that. There's
as
something
best
like
day, but then it could also be
the
like
dopamine of that is crazy, isn't it?
and not so much about the
don't
dopamine,
know.
of just
I
kind of the satisfaction of fuck, this is it, I
succeeded.
made
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And then there'd be other ones where it's like, you know, oh, like the first time I said I love you to like
Yeah.
that girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
or like you know, the first time I had sex.
Are you okay? Are you in a relationship now? Are you allowed to talk about this? Or? We can cut it out.
Yeah, no, I
No?
try not to, just because like the
It's a hard sell.
well, not the hard sell thing, but I just kind
No,
of
I mean
think like,
you're
huh?
a hard sell.
Oh, I fucking know that. Yeah, yeah.
know?
Oh, very much so.
Oh, would you go out with me? Oh, by the way,
I'm dying. Yeah. No, it's a very hard sell. Also, I like, you know, any girl who would sort of like, because like I'm done with the shagging around. I don't need to do that. It's nice. Like sex is nice. I wouldn't say no to it.
Okay.
But like when you're young and you're fucking 20, you kind of like your libido is way higher,
Yeah.
and also you're inexperienced. And then when you kind of done more of it, you're then kind of like, you know, I not as like, it's like traveling, you know, you want to travel more when
so
you're
what
younger.
you're saying now is you would want more of a good connection with a partner.
Yeah.
But again, it's a hard sell. But
It's a very hard sell.
all right. Do you want to see the painting?
Go on.
By the way, the painting was done before because he has limited time, so we couldn't
Originally, were you?
I didn't want to be halfway
was
through
your
the
idea
painting
meant-
and then you're like, oh god.
Oh.
Yeah. Right.
Hit me.
Okay. You're gonna like this. I really like this one.
I hate it.
What do you think of that? Well, these are pill boxes, but they're little pill things.
Oh yeah. Fucking hell, that is fantastic.
Yeah, you like that? You can have that. That's yours.
Jesus. Now, obviously, this is a bit of fun, but that's actually a really good fucking depiction of my face.
Yeah, I was worried whether it looked enough like you. I feel like I've got the nose a little bit wrong. It should be a little bit lower, but I don't know. It's
I'll send it to my mammy. She'll be the judge of that.
But yeah, that's the painting. What do you think the meaning of it? Well, actually, it's very self-explanatory, I guess. There's nothing much.
Fuck you to cancer.
Yeah.
That's what I would depict as the meaning of it, and the idea that cancer doesn't necessarily weaken. Well, I suppose cancer doesn't necessarily weaken someone physically. It does short term, but you can bounce back from that.
I mean,
Everyone
you're
loves
in great shape. To be fair.
Yeah.
Seen you doing pull-ups, weighted pull-ups the other day.
Yeah. I'm at the cusp of breaking some of my strength records.
Nice.
I think my bench press is the strongest I've ever been.
What are you benching these days?
I think. All right. So my current one, I thought I had broken my.
You're talking about 1 rep max, yeah?
1 rep max. Yeah. I thought I had broken my 1 rep max when I lifted 115 kilos, and I was fairly sure that was but I found a record of a previous personal best, and I was like 115 was my personal best. So I've matched it, but that was a couple of weeks ago, and I've been consistent with training. So I think I haven't proven it yet, but I think if I can go a little bit higher.
Nice. That's a good bench.
Yeah, deadlifts and squats, I'm not pushing hard on them because I have a bit of a knee injury at the moment. But yeah,
Sweet. You're proving them wrong, I
the
guess.
stereotype that like cancer just takes you out is it is a stereotype, and it's something that we've gotten from realistic situations of like, you know, how serious cancer would have been back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And now how much treatment has improved vastly. And a big thing that it kind of annoys me is when people are like, you know, oh, we've been working on this for ages, why haven't we gotten the cure? And it's like, well, we've made a huge amount of progress, and also because the world is changing so much and not for the benefit of humans for health, there's more forms of cancer that are becoming more apparent. So like toxicity in, you know, cities with more cars being around, which is 100% the thing, never mind fucking people like it to deny it. America is suffering quite badly at the moment from the quality of food that is being consumed. Everywhere in the world is suffering quite a lot from sort of tin food and processed food and the rest of that sort of thing. But America obviously is like at a different fucking level, because I didn't know how realistic it is But the cost of just normal
Vegetables.
is so high. And also, like, if you just have like an orange, a banana, or whatever, in the UK, it's just like has more flavor. It just tastes more bland over there. It's like, I thought that was, when I seen that sort of statement on podcasts being said, I thought like, that's
Bullshit, yeah.
That's an excuse. That's kind of laziness, because obviously it takes more time to prepare the food at home. And you've got like McDonald's, which is a cheap meal that how can I'm
sweet.
The dog, you were, hey, I was gonna use you. Come here. You are going.
Well, you're in the shot, but I need to get a good shot of because the thing is, with the reflection of a. All right, we did it. Let me just, while we're still filming, shake my hand. Good job. And now hopefully we can get a good picture of the.